about rape. Again, you read the newspapers, and most police inspectors in India now systematically say that women invite rape. I mean, it's not just in India, they say it elsewhere as well. But quite systematically they say that if women go out at night on their own, they are inviting rape. If women are dressed provocatively. Actually, somebody down in South India said, women are nowadays dressed in salwar kameez, and salwar kameez is an open invitation to men to rape. And this is said by police inspectors. This is not said by villains of Hindi films. This is said by... And so the serious misunderstanding and neglect of women's personal safety. And recently, last week, somebody said in Gurgaon, which is not very far away from here, that the Gurgaon police cannot guarantee the safety of women who work late at night. Because the women should not be working late at night, and if they work late at night, their safety and security is not the responsibility of Gurgaon. I mean, obviously they were kind of, pulled up for this, and the media are very good on this in exposing this kind of stuff. But these things go on. Now, I think then when you get within marriage, so this is all that happens before marriage. Now, within marriage, dowry debts. Dowry debts are quite a lot of quite a frequent occurrence. And then in some parts of North India, Punjab, Haryana, and so on, there are things called khap panchayat. Normally people think community is a good thing. Communities ought to, and panchayats are even better. Begging Mani Shankar about this. But there are some panchayats which are just vicious, controlled by the men of the people in the and the khap panchayats in North India forbid marriage by women outside the caste. And then don't just forbid, they kill them if you get married outside a caste. And then again, there are a number of examples. There was even one absurd example a while ago in which a Muslim boy ran away with a Muslim girl. But the boy's parents decided that the girl's caste was below the boy's caste. This is among Muslims. The girl's caste was below the boy's caste, and therefore that could not be allowed, and therefore caste differences among Muslims. So, these things happen, and again, whenever this violence happens, it's differentially visited on the woman rather than man. Families, yesterday there was a news, a family killed a daughter for aspiring to marry by her own desire and outside. Then we come to property rights. There are systematic problems about property rights, especially upon divorce. This is now a changing thing because there is a law currently being passed reforming divorce laws. But there is a difference between the Muslim law on property sharing between husband and wife and the Hindu law. But the Hindu law definitely systematically disadvantages the woman who may want to divorce, or may not want to divorce, but the husband may want to give her a divorce because he wants to get married again. And there is a lot of case law building up on inequalities of property division within at the end of marriage. I can go on, but one interesting new development is surrogacy. And India has become a health tourism center, but especially one for surrogacy. Another short commercial. My wife's next novel is about surrogacy, coming out in June. And surrogacy is a very serious thing because the women who are recruited to be the bearers of the as it were, the egg, are from the lower social status. They are very often very young. They are given a lot of money, but they very often get into multiple surrogacy cycles, and there are again problems sometimes about the embryos which arrive have been tampered with, and sometimes children are born with HIV and product. Just tell me how many minutes.
Just 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Okay. Well, all I want to say is that we ought to, whenever think of inclusion, ought to not only think of communities, but ought to think of gender. And one thing, thing I would say, a very good indicator would be to see how is the girl child getting better off. One indicator of the program would be, is girl child's health status, nutrition status, education status getting better off as a result of your policies. And one more thing, increasingly I've heard people say about labor force participation, how labor force participation of women is below men. And I think we also need a reconsideration of the notion of labor, because unpaid work, which goes on in the households, which is a very large part of the way the economy sustains itself, although it's not recorded as GDP. I think we ought to have some way, if you're going to have inclusive development, to include unpaid work as an important part of our economic calculations.